you're getting your treatment's fine. Okay. Okay, guys. Hey, welcome to today. Today, it's the dance of communication, and one of the reasons that I'm wanting to look at this, and I'm wanting you to start looking at your communications, because have you ever, or do you ever, have a different view or perception than someone else? And yeah, we do all the time. So if you say no, you must be saintly. And one of the things that comes with this, when we have a different view of what everyone else is doing, excuse me, just close the window. How do you go about it? How do you go through the terrain of someone's different narrative or someone's different perception and view on life? And do you look, I'm going to go a little bit deep here quick, but then I'm going to bring it back to one of the reasons why we looked at this. You know, our son is at school and he's reading a book in English. It's an English assignment. And the book is about cutting up people. They are to be sacrificed for the sake of mankind, and there's stuff on abortion, and there's all this stuff, and we're going, what the heck are these 13-year-old kids reading this about? And the story's pretty full on, and it's like basically you get to a certain age and then you get limbs cut off you, and if you've been really bad, you get cut up and then you get other people's limbs sewn onto you. It's a bit weird. I haven't read the book, so I can't tell you all about it. Yet the thing that we looked at is, because we're able to online at the school, because we've got a really good school, and you're able to go on and see what the questions that the kids are getting asked about the book, and then what they all write. And you can see the different versions or different thinking, and you can see it coming through the kids writing their narrative or their perspective of what their parents are teaching them, or and how their views are in life. Now, the thing about the book that why I brought it up is because they said, one of the things they said in the book is that this is a way of tithing. If you have 10 kids, then the 10th kid should be tithed or given up as a sacrifice. So it should be killed. And do you agree or disagree on this? And it's really interesting watching and reading what the kids had to say. But basically, Terry and I were sitting down looking at this, and we looked at, well, hold on, you've got these 13-year-old kids looking at these decisions and getting their perspective out there, but then they're getting feedback from the teachers and things like that. But my question that comes with me looking at it, and Terry Ann's as well, is we go, where did this come from? How come they're even getting put into a position where they are needing to make a choice of what they believe about whether it's okay to end somebody else's life in the sake of tithing? And there's a lot of really twisted stuff going on here, but what we looked at is we went, well, hold on, where did this come from? Because it's not the teacher and it's not the headmaster. Where is this strain of thought coming from, and what's the overall view, or what are they trying to get, or what are they trying to subliminally put into the consciousness of the kids? And then that's how we look at it, and whether we're right or wrong, it doesn't really matter. That's just, I'm just sharing this. But this is what brought out the us looking at communication. And one of the things that we look at, are you able to stay balanced within yourself, or do you become emotionally excited when you have a difference of opinion in someone's narrative, in someone's opinion of what's going on. And what happens here is we get caught. Because can you put your brain in neutral and actually really listen to what the person's saying without your belief systems and your perceptions or projections going on to them? And if you're anything like me, you will at times struggle because you have your narrative or your belief systems that are, some of them are quite passionate to you and you push back. But one of the things that we must learn to do is realize that when we project our response back onto someone, and it is anything less than loving, we are attacking ourselves. We are an attack. And when we do this, we have gone unconscious. We are caught in the egoic mind. We are caught in the dream or the illusion of a non-truth. And one of the things that happens is spirit or the wholeness within inside of us gives us the opportunity for these differences in perceptions and communication to be able to help us see where we are caught and in fear or angst against the love of the divine within. And this is where we start looking at it and you go, wow. So if you look in your life and someone has said or is disagreeing with you or your views on life, can you stop and hear what they say? And then can you share your communication with them without belittling them or making them wrong? Can you hold a space of love in your heart and allow the healing to happen? Whether it be they see your view or they continue down their road, whatever it is. And it is not only communication with another person, it is the communication with yourself. Have you ever said an unpleasant thing to yourself? Have you ever been critical of yourself? Have you ever been unloving? When we look at this, we look at the communication, and the communication when we are like this to ourselves is a form of attack. We are attacking the holy or the wholeness in ourselves, and we need to become aware of our communication. When we do this, we are able to then begin to start opening it up. And you can use whatever illusion or reasoning or BS story that you want, but if it's not loving, then you know it is an attack upon yourself. It is a projection of some form of pain, separation, or hurt or fear that you are doing. Knowing this can kind of suck at the start because you see how often you do it. You go, ah, crap, here I am again. But the good thing about it is when you recognize it and you put your big boy pants on or your big girl pants on and you acknowledge and accept it, you then have the opportunity to go, well, hold on a minute, I'm causing this dis-ease in myself through the way that I am treating myself. Because if you guys are anything like me, when someone has a different of opinion, and this is more in the past, and I could feel it, and I would feel the fizzing and the bubbling of the anger and the fighting back against them, and you become deaf because you're fighting for your perception or your projection. It's not even the truth, and you are taking it personally. When you can let that go, you will find you fall into peace and you're able to see the truth. So in all communication, where you look at it, we allow ourselves to slow down. So this may mean that when you are talking to someone, when you find yourself getting knocked off balance because one of your beliefs or values is being triggered, and all your soldiers have come running up to the front to defend yourself, you step back and go, well, hold on a minute. What's actually really being said here? Why am I going into a battle mode? Because no one ever wins a war. There's only ever carnage. What would love do in this situation? And you allow yourself to stop. The reason why we have our communication and we get bunted up against, our narrative gets pushed against, is the universal spirit is trying to help us see where we are caught. And it'll use whatever it can to highlight it for you so you can see the love and joy inside of yourself, and you realize that all that you're doing is getting caught up in a non-truth or a perception, and you have an opportunity for the healing here. And what happens for this, though, is what they're starting to tell me is your fear of letting go that story is quite often very strong. And so you will fight to be right, or you will fight for your narrative, and you turn your back on the divine. You turn your back on yourself, on the love. Because you've got to remember, the person that you are arguing with, or the people that you are communicating with, and if there is a disagreement, they are basically the divine in drag. And here you are arguing with the divine. So here you are caught up with your programming system, your computer system, arguing with their computer system. And you are missing the love. You are caught in the delusion of the dream or the story of whatever's going on. And we all do it. Yet when we are able to step back and go, hold on, what is the best way to communicate here? First up, we need to hear, if there is a difference, what is their narrative? From what position are they communicating from? Are they on top of the mountain looking down? Are they at the ocean looking out? Are they looking up at the mountain? Where are they? And this happens through becoming curious and asking questions to find out how they came to that view. Once we understand how they came to the view, you'll either agree or disagree. That's neither here nor there. Yet once you see how they are able to see what's going on, you then have the opportunity to share your perspective if it needs sharing, or you will recognize that it's okay for them and you just choose to be different. And that's fine. It's not about making either right or wrong. It's just, okay, I see where you're at. I see why you're doing that. Okay, that makes sense. But I choose not to play that game. and you just disengage. You allow yourself to move away. And it's not that they are wrong. You do not go away with they are wrong, blame, shame, punishment, judgment, and all that. You see that as another divine being learning a different road. That's all that's going on. They are learning and they are traveling a different road to you. It's not right or not wrong, it's just a different road. When we can start letting go of that, and because what I'm watching is the energy inside of all of you, as I'm watching with that little nut. I can see it in all of you. There is this little hard piece of communication inside of you, this little hard piece of resistance that's fighting to be right. Because if you were to give up that resistance, that little hard nut that's inside of you, and I want you to, all of you, to allow yourself to connect with it. That little hard nut that's there, that resistance, that stubbornness, that self-righteousness, whatever it is for you, that little hard nut there, and ask it, what's its purpose? Why is it needing to fight? What's its purpose there? What is it for you? And for some of us, if I'm not right, then I'm going to die. And that's how black and white it is. It is the fear of death inside of yourself if you don't keep fighting for that. And my question to that is that something that your soul would do to you? Is that something that the divine essence of yourself would put that threat onto you? It's not loving kindness, is it? That's it. And you can feel the hurt and the emotion that comes out with them. You just let it run out, just let the feeling come out. And that little hard spot that's there, and you let it know that you love it. You've never meant it any harm. And that little hard lump that's there, can you let it know that it's okay, that it's scared, and that you're going to stand there beside it? That you're scared of being wrong, that you're scared of being embarrassed, that you're scared of being vulnerable, that you're scared that you don't know. And these are all traumas that are locked up inside her. And allow yourself to communicate it to that little hard spot that's inside of you. That you're scared of dying or healing yourself. You're screwed either way. You're just plain scared. But it's allowing yourself to acknowledge that. And to allow that fear to come to the surface. And have forgiveness and atonement for carrying it. And it's interesting because even coming up here now is the energy, you have a fear that if you do not have this part in you to fight against others, then you won't know what to do. Because it's all you've ever known. And we just come back, well, what say you just sat in love? What say you just sat in joy in yourself? And you will hear the communication from this aspect. Well, that's just boring, that's dull, that's story, story, story. And you'll call it the warrior energy, you'll call it whatever you want. But at the end of the day, it's still an attack on self. And I want you to allow yourself to see it. You're seeing your communication with it through your eyes. Now allow yourself to see the communication with you through its eyes. Allow yourself to connect with the fear or the harshness or the pain or the bitterness, whatever's in there. That little girl or boy that feels like they have never been heard. And they go into their loathing and their wounding. And the thing is, you just stand there and you say, well, hold on, dude. You've never been heard, or I'm hearing you now. And then you hear them, well, you don't matter, you don't know, you're not going to do anything. And so this is where the communication comes out. So, well, I'm here for you. Yet I can't make you cross the bridge. But no, I'm here for you, and the door is always open. And as long as you hang on to this pain and suffering, you will always hurt. But there is a choice point here. You can come and sit and enjoy in yourself over here and be in all the beauty of the world consciousness, or you can keep yourself separate. The choice is yours. Either way, I love you. And for some, they will cross the bridge, and for others, they still want to fight a little bit more. Just have one more fight, one more argument, so I can know how lousy I feel. One more attack on myself. And you look at your communication now. And what you do is you are aware of the joy and the love inside of you, and you are aware of the pain and suffering that that projection and that perception holds. You have the both of them there, and you get to choose. No one is doing that pain and projection to you but you. The love and joy of holding yourself in wholeness is also you. Which do you want? And as you watch the dance of the communication that comes out of the perception and projection, you will recognize there is only hurt in here in some form, whether it's anger, whether it's misery, whether it's blame, shame, projection, this, that, they do this to me. There is only ever separation, guilt, and suffering and fear. That's all that ever lives there. And when you see that, you have the opportunity to sit in love and have compassion for that. When you have compassion for that form of communication in yourself, you recognize that you no longer need it, and it is able to be released. first step is being aware inside of yourself, where you do this externally with other people and where you do it internally with yourself. In this communication, much like I told you the story about the book, we looked at where is it coming from. We go up the ladder to, to take this to the nth degree. Are these kids getting subliminally told to see that it's okay to do tithing, to see someone be sacrificed in your family? Is it like the Hunger Games? And it's just something we looked at, we went, wow, far out. Is this subliminally being slowly let into the consciousness? And this is where I looked at what Dr. Joe Dispenza talked about, is when you watch an ad on TV, and I've seen it on here not long ago around shingles virus. And subliminally, they are layering in into your consciousness that you could get it. And if the immune system isn't strong, then you need to see the doctor and fear. And then at the end, the drug they're trying to give you doesn't even help it. But they take the power out of you. And what I'm looking at here, and what I'm wanting to get across to you guys on a deeper level, is when you have the communication within inside of yourself, that anything other than loving kindness for self and others is an attack on your wholeness, is an attack on the wholeness of our being and our humanity in life. And when we can see that, we have compassion for things to be the way they are. And then what happens is, what you'll notice is everything just crumbles. The illusion of those stories and those negative communications fall away, and we set ourselves free. And you will no longer be entrapped or entangled in them. You will move amongst them effortlessly. And that's what I'm wanting for you, is for you to not play in the ocean where there's sharks and all sorts of things, but to be confident that you can be in there and be safe. And you see all the different types of communication out there, and you see it for what it is. And everything has a narrative or an agenda, and you are totally happy inside of yourself, knowing that you just choose to be love, or choose to be wholeness. And at no time are you ever trying to convince anybody that they need to be different. And this is what our essence, our soul's doing to us the whole time. It's getting us to be able to communicate, to open up and see where we are caught, where we're caught in those old projections. So allow yourself to look at your communications today. If you find you're having a conversation with someone or with yourself and you get riled up, you find a rise happens within inside of yourself, then you are fighting and creating separation inside of you. So pull back, stop, have a look from the other side. See its version, it's a perception. Then come back and sit in the love and self. And then sit in the truth, ask to sit in the truth. And notice what you are projecting out, what you're projecting upon yourself, what you perceive to be true. Notice the illusion of the dream or the dance that you're in. And then allow yourself to speak from there. you'll find it becomes a lot more peaceful and a lot easier to get what you want. So I know there's been a lot in there, and we've gone into things, and we've looked at that little hard nut that was inside of you, and a lot of you it has opened up and it is releasing, and for some of you there is the muck that's just releasing out of it, and just know the light will take care of that. And as the muck comes out, you'll realize that that old thing that you used to fight for, because as I realized in myself, all of my irritations that I had with others was nothing more than a separation and an attack on myself. And people were not trying to be harsh or mean to me. I was projecting the meanness onto them, and then I saw them as mean, and I recognized it was my own projection that was causing me the suffering. And my communication then changed, and now it's okay. But in the past, it used to be, F you. that was basically the line, you know, and you know, you would stonewall them, or they would either agree or they wouldn't, and the realization that all it was me projecting because I had a belief that I was going to be hurt, or and I took it personally. But in turning that around, what happens is you find yourself sitting in wholeness, and you are able to see them where they are, and you soften, and the battles just fall away. You find the conversations that you had to not happen. The self-talk in yourself falls away. You actually allow the light in and the healing to happen. You stop trying to fix things, and you actually just allow yourself to love yourself. There you go. And as you sit in that, you will set yourself free. Okay, guys, I went slightly different to where I thought it was going, but hey, we got there in the end. So enjoy, have an awesome day, and I will see you tomorrow. Blessings.